former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, dies in London after prolonged illness.
The passing of Abuja of Ijebuland.
Ondo and Bauchi states governments collaborate on agricultural and industrial development.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari.
Late former President Muhammadu Buhari was born on the 17th December 1942 in Daura, Katsina State to Adamu and Zileha Buhari, and was raised by his mother following the death of his father when he was about 4 years old.
Muhammadu Buhari attended his primary school education in Daura and Maidwa from 1948 to 1952. He later enrolled in Katsina Provisional Secondary School, now Government College, Katsina, from 1956 to 1961, where he earned his first African school certificate.
The former president married Safinatu Yusuf from 1971 to 1988, Aisha Aliru from 1989 till his passage. He is blessed with 10 children.
His military career saw him join the Nigerian Army in 1961 when he was admitted to the Nigerian Military Training College, Kaduna. He underwent training in various elite and prestigious military institutions outside Nigeria.
That's true, Jumai. The military coup of December 1983 led to his emergence as the head of state and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, a position he served until August 1985.
Indeed, his military career in administration saw him serve in different capacities as minister, governor, and chairman of boards.
So after retirement from the army and driven by a profound sense of patriotism and commitment to national service, General Buhari entered politics in 2003, following Nigeria's return to democratic dispensation in 1999.
Indeed, Ademola, Buhari's fourth shot at the presidential poll in 2015 saw him emerge victorious as a democratically elected president under the banner of the All Progressives Congress.
The late president served 2 terms as president from 2015 to 2023. He was well known for his anti-corruption stand and an epitome of discipline until his death. He had relocated to Kaduna for a quiet life in retirement before his death on Sunday afternoon in a London hospital following ill health. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, the first for the week. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I am Juma Yusuf. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We're reaching you live from Abuja on the network service of the NTA. Shortly, we'll join Stella Inamiti for highlights of the morning news, and much later, newspaper review. Stella?
Good morning, Jume. Good morning, Ademola. Here is the morning news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the passing of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. President Buhari died yesterday in London at about 4:30 p.m. following a prolonged illness. President Tinubu has spoken with Mrs. Aisha Buhari, the former president's widow, and offered his deep condolences. President Tinubu has also directed Vice President Kashim Shettima and his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, to proceed to the United Kingdom to accompany President Muhammadu Buhari's body back to Nigeria. Former President Buhari was twice elected Nigeria's president in 2015 and 2019. He also served as military head of state between January 1984 and August 1985. President Tinubu has ordered flags at half-mast as a mark of respect for the departed leader. Meanwhile, former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has expressed profound sadness over the news of the passing of the former President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. A statement from the former Vice President says he has spoken with Her Excellency Aisha Buhari and their son Yusuf Buhari to express his heartfelt condolences and to share in the deep grief of their family, of their beloved family. The former vice president noted that Nigeria has lost a true patriot, a man whose life was marked by unyielding devotion to the nation he loved, adding that President Buhari's legacy will endure as a testament to the nobility of public service defined by honesty, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to the public good. In the meantime, one of Nigeria's most outstanding and revered traditional rulers, His Royal Majesty Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona, the Awujale of Ijebu land, has joined his ancestors after over 65 remarkable years on the throne. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a statement, says he received the news of this transition with double pain in his heart as it coincided with the passing of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. The demise of Oba Adetona, he adds, has left an enormous void within the traditional institutions in Yoruba land and Nigeria in general. As the nation mourns Oba Adetona's passing, President Tinubu extends his condolences to the family, Governor Dapo Abiodun, the government and people of Ogun State, as well as sons and daughters of Ijebu land. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pati, says President Tinubu's administration is developing a robust and comprehensive food and nutrition security crisis preparedness plan to guide Nigeria's response to potential threats. Speaking at a stakeholders consultative meeting on the development of the FNSCPP in Abuja, Professor Pati emphasized the need for proactive, whole-of-government and whole-of-society approaches to tackle emerging challenges, including the impacts of climate change, conflict, and economic headwinds of food systems and nutrition. Professor Pati praised the efforts of the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, for leading the charge in intersectoral coordination. He noted that sectors such as agriculture, water resources, health, women affairs, and education must align their interventions under a unified national plan.
A comprehensive preparedness plan and guide our country to effectively manage threats that may be in our way.
In the move to strengthen their economies and create more opportunities for residents, Ondo and Bauchi states are forging a partnership focused on agricultural development and industrialization. The initiative was the highlight of a meeting at the Ondo State Government House in Akure.
Anything petrochemical, refinery, seaport, industries, we have the space. And it's also a free trade zone. So all of these will be of benefit to investors and also to us.
And they want to establish a fertilizer plant here. And they have made their feasibility studies as Nigerians. And I believe bringing this would be my honor to bring you without any string attached.
And those are the news highlights. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Jumai after these messages.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000. NIN mi àti káàdì láti lọ gbà. Nígbà tí mo sì gbà, mo fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀. Mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀. Mo sì wọkọ̀ mi náà ń bẹ. A sì fi yòókù ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ajé pé káàtó máa rí dé bá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
Guys, food is ready!
Suitable for jollof rice, stew, spaghetti, and yam portage. Cooked to impress.
My husband's germ-filled journey to work and the sweaty journey back home.
What else can give you all day long protection?
Germs are everywhere, but Dettol's 12-hour protector shield shields your family every day.
Dettol.
Be 100% sure.
No buy am! But why? No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal. Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
My people, toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Harpic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10x better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs.
Oh, wow.
You cannot see that Harpic is better than
Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance rice bran oil is rich in gamma-oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma-oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Good food, no worries.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Comel!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Hey
Nigeria. Ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
The world needs mums. With a splash of golden Terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Change no thanks into yes please. Resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra oil, or pure love.
It's not easy.
You're welcome back, and you're watching Good Morning Nigeria. It's time for newspaper review.
Well, the newspaper reviewer Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja is here with us this morning. Good morning, Chuks.
Good morning, my dear. On a morning that is not so happy, come to think of it. Thinking from the national perspective, we lost an icon. Good morning, Jumai.
We lost an icon.
Well, it's a celebration of life, actually.
82 is not bad.
Yeah.
82 is not bad.
And it served well.
It served well.
So, I mean, we're mourning and at the same time celebrating his
life.
well.
I agree with
life.
you. I agree with you. I'm going to miss that gap, you know.
And unfortunately, the Oba of Ijebu also passed away yesterday at the same time. Anyway, Juma, you can just start.
Let's go to the papers, and let's begin with This Nigeria. This Nigeria side piece of the masthead. Serap sues NNPCL over missing 825 billion naira, $2.5 billion flagged by Auditor General Dangote. You find the details on page 4. And at the side piece of the picture story, Senate rejects court order to recall Natasha, maintains suspension. Find details on page 5. Airpiece plane veers off runway in Port Harcourt. Details on page 15. Nigerians react to U.S. visa validity policy. Activists, lawyers blame poor governance, urges U.S. to target corrupt officials, not ordinary citizens. Details on page 4. And the headlines in the news, This Nigeria this morning. Buhari, goodbye. After prolonged illness, ex-president dies in the UK at 82. VP Shatima to accompany corpse from London to Daura today for burial. And Tinubu, Obasanjo, Oshibanjo, governors, APC, others pay tribute. Now let's quickly go to the People's Daily this morning. Mr. Demola, just take yours.
Okay. I'll take the business NG and just below the nameplate, drug abuse crisis. Psychologist warns Nigeria is losing its youth. Drug abuse crisis. Psychologist warns Nigeria is losing its youth. Details on page 11. Then we have just above that nameplate, Sanwo-Olu hails APC's landslide LG poll win, urges inclusive governance. Then we have cash hoarding persist despite reforms, 4.63 trillion held outside banks. CBN governor. Details of that story can be found on page 2. And the major headline of the newspapers reads, Goodbye Buhari, Tinubu sends Shatima to escort late president's body. Details of that story can be found on page 6. Fuel prices to drop nationwide today as Dangote slashes ex-export rate, ex-depot rate. Fuel prices to drop nationwide today as Dangote slashes ex-depot rate. Then we have NNPCL plans Kaduna Warri Port Harcourt refinery sell-off. Expert urges caution. The visa on arrival, national cancelled, only upgraded. Not cancelled, only upgraded. I think that's all. Juma, you have one more paper.
I have the People's Daily, and on the People's Daily below the masthead, FAN warns of flight delays after Air Peace aircraft incident. All the details are in the paper. Police arrest 14 suspects, dismantle armed robbery gang in Kaduna. You find the details on page 5. And the headlines. The life and times of Muhammadu Buhari, 1942 to 2025. Buhari was a patriot, soldier, statesman, as coming from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. President directs Shatima to move to UK to accompany Badi home and summons emergency FEC meeting Tuesday for ex-president. Orders flags at half-mast. That's about what we have in the papers this morning, Chukudi.
Yes, the flag should fly at half-mast for a patriot, soldier, and statesman. Whatever you think about Buhari, he stood out as a Nigerian. Even those who are not very fair to politicians will tell you that Buhari as a single individual still remained Buhari.
Remember last week
just last week we were talking about it. When we said that maybe his lieutenants did not quite measure up to the standard of their principle.
Yes.
But Buhari the man was still Buhari the man. You know, there are people in this life who just decide that you can be trusted. They give you a post to hold, a position to hold. And they just trust that you'll do it. He was that kind of person. Because that's how he thinks himself. He feels, I can't be the only honorable man around. Other people could be honorable too. That was his attitude towards it all. But as I said, I'm going to miss the gap in his teeth, the diastema. When he smiled, it made me feel somehow.
That beautiful smile.
Yes, it was there. And I know you're going to bring analysts, so let's not spend too much time on Buhari. Somehow you also say, hey, when he ruled Nigeria, that was when COVID was there. That was when oil prices took a tumble and all that. Things were not particularly in his favor, come to think of it.
There were challenges.
There were so many challenges. You know, how potent.
But I was quite impressed the way he handled COVID-19. There was no retrenchment.
Wonderful.
Workers stayed at home and were paid full salary, including allowances and all that. Most countries around the world were letting people go. People were losing their jobs. But I'm so glad that in Nigeria, nobody would say that he lost his job.
It was a responsible attitude to an epidemic of massive proportions. Yes, he was. And away from Buhari, the Awujale of Ijebuland, that's a Obasikiru Adetona, also chose yesterday to go.
Say goodbye.
So 2 bright comets crossed the skies of Nigeria.
That's 91.
Onto the unknown, you know.
All of them were celebrating their lives.
We have to celebrate him as well because he got onto the throne, you know, quite early in life.
At the age of 26.
So that's quite...
so it was like 65 on the throne.
That's great news. Yes. I'm sure he outpaced the Queen of England then, you know, in terms of a number of years on the throne. May his soul rest in perfect peace as well. I hear good news that fuel prices are likely to go down today as Dangote comes in again. He's become the gadfly, the masterless man of the oil industry, to the delight of we the people. Let him keep doing that.
At least he has put he'll put smiles on the face.
Most likely it will go
I've
to.
told you his name is now Dangi Baba.
The price will go down to 840.
That would be great.
840 to 820
today.
Then let us now talk about the national psyche.
But you see, the challenge will be this. The moment the price goes down, it will take time for all those depots, all those fuel stations to change. But if it goes up to this minute, the price
is okay.
That's actually what this happens because there's no proper monitoring.
Let us not have the attitude that when things go up in Nigeria, they never come down again. It is not quite
the
true.
problem is monitoring and evaluation of this.
Exactly. Supervision is the biggest problem in this country. Lack of supervision, rather.
Because they will argue.
So you have a point.
No, actually, they will argue that they are still selling their old stock. So you cannot sort of. That is the argument, actually.
They would always.
And if it rises again, they will still sell with the old stock at the new price.
They will still succumb to.
So when it comes down, they'll complain. When it goes up, they still sell the old stock.
No, that's because competition is not fierce enough.
Yes, it's not.
Otherwise, you keep your matter now, keep them if you know one seller. It's because competition is not yet very acute.
Actually, we're getting there.
Yes, we will get there shortly.
We're getting there.
We'll surely get there.
And the things is beginning to improve. So I mean, we're
make her do small your piece. These syrup suits. Are they winning their cases?
Nobody really knows right now.
I wonder.
Really knows.
Okay, let's leave it there. Let's not think. Please, before I leave the Buhari matter, I like the fact that the president is sending the vice president to escort his body back from England. I think that's...
President Zulu was already on ground yesterday in the evening in London, I think, with another governor there.
Who?
Governor Zulu.
Zulu.
And another governor arrived before the vice president.
Is that my champion governor?
Yes, in the UK.
Yes.
And,
we thank God. We thank God for his life.
Air Peace plane veers off runway in Port Harcourt.
Accidents would happen. That's life. Accidents would happen. So what you want to examine is, are we relaxing about aviation safety and all that? If we are not, accidents would always happen. Look at the one that happened in England just yesterday. They called it a serious incident. They've not told us the number of people involved in that. It would always happen. But let us be sure that it is not because we relaxed aviation safety. The elements, the nature would always, circumstance would always
they have a new board
take its toll. Yeah, they have a new board.
Come up with new ideas.
Yeah. No, and I want to say that our dear friend, I interviewed him up to 6 times. That was on the station. That's Keyamo is doing well. He is doing well, by my own assessment.
He's doing well. He's telling them it's not business as usual.
And it has not been business as usual.
The lives of Nigerians matters, or anybody.
Just like he was as a resource person on the programs I scheduled. I handled. Keyamo is still Keyamo,
Well, Chooks, you are also doing well on Good Morning Nigeria. Your paper review has been well commended. So
but it's time to kick me out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
He's happy.
They were gingerly telling me
he's happy. No Chelsea. We are mourning nationally.
The one thing you did not acknowledge Chelsea's victory yesterday. Anyway, no problem.
See where they look.
All right.
Congrats.
We'll take a break now. The conversation will kickstart. Stay with us.
Oh my God.
The minor unit is the kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the naira at events. Stop stepping on the naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the naira. Handling the naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the naira. Love the naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the naira.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
Mention a popular Nigerian childhood game of the 80s and 90s.
Police and thief. Playing rubber.
No be arm rubber.
Mommy and daddy.
Mommy and daddy. Survey says. Hey.
She loves to cook and I like to eat.
That's my boy.
I like to go out, but sometimes my pocket just tells me,
bruh,
go inside.
Don't be only you. Mention something you would do if you meet with a lion. Call for help. Help me. The lion, they carry me, go.
I like to watch football with him.
Nice.
Not Arsenal. They know they carry league. Drop some bars.
All right. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
You did not even rap.
If you're happy and you know it, let me see your 32. Smile for me, baby. You know they give me attitude.
Felicity, they're here.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime, punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance rice bran oil is rich in gamma oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance oil. Good food, no worries.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we have more than just a nation. We are Nigeria, strengthening in unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and just before we bring in our guests on our conversation on the life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari, let's take this background report by Timothy Yusuf.
Muhammadu Buhari was a significant figure in Nigeria's political history, serving as both a military ruler and a democratically elected president. Born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State, Buhari rose through the ranks of the Nigerian army, becoming a major general and eventually seizing power in a coup on December 31, 1983. Many believe that his military regime was marked by a strict approach to governance, introducing policies like the war against indiscipline to restore social order and curb corruption. Born into a Fulani family in Daura, Katsina State, he joined the Nigerian Military Training College in 1962. Findings show that he rose through the ranks, serving in various capacities, including Military Governor of Northeastern State 1975 to 1976, Federal Commissioner for Petroleum Resources 1976 to 1978, Chairman Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation 1977 to 1978. Buhari later transitioned into electoral politics, contesting presidential elections in 2003, 2007 and 2011, before winning in 2015 under the All Progressives Congress APC. His presidency focused on anti-corruption efforts, security reforms, economic diversification, and promoting agricultural self-sufficiency and infrastructural development. Former President Muhammadu Buhari passed away on July 13, 2025 in London at the age of 82 after a period of illness.
Well, thank you, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report on life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, we already have one of our guests seated in the studio this morning for a conversation on life and times of the former president. And we have is no other person but Ambassador Dauda Danladi. He was the former Nigerian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Ambassador Danladi, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you and good morning Nigeria.
And we also have joining us from our Maiduguri studio, Engineer Umar Bindir, founder and COO Bindir Knowledge Development Center International, Yola. He's also a former secretary to the government of Adamawa State, former director general and CEO of NOTAP, and former national coordinator NSIP. He's joining us from our Maiduguri studio. It's good to have you join us on a day like this.
Thank you very much, Jumai. It's a pleasure as usual.
All right. Okay, let's stay with you, Engineer Bindi, so that we can have your perspective on this latest development concerning former President Muhammadu Buhari, who many has described as a patriot and highly disciplined leader who contributed immensely to the development of this great nation. So tell us, I mean, he has fought so many battles, but unfortunately, this particular battle, he lost. So how will you describe the late president?
Thank you very much. You know, this is a very, very sad day for Nigeria. And as always, we start with the traditional Islamic quote of Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi raji'un, which means indeed we are from the Lord and to him we will return. And it's also a signal to remind Nigerians again of what the Lord said. Every living soul will have a taste of death. So, but you see, reflecting on the late president, this is a gentleman who rose from very humble levels of, if you can say, humility, and maybe, if you are not general, you say from poverty level up to the highest level to become the leader of this country twice. And consistently, he has remained a gentleman who have maintained all his thoughts, all his energy in fighting the three most important and most critical challenges of our country. First, this is a gentleman who has always reminded Nigerians through leadership that discipline is very, very important for us to actually conquer our challenges. Two, this is a former president, a late president, who has maintained the fight against poverty throughout his life. And then lately, this is a gentleman in uniform and out of uniform, in military and civilian, who has maintained focus and energy on fighting corruption. And certainly, lately, his energy that he dispensed through his last presidency period on fighting insecurity is well acknowledged by Nigerians. So this is the person that we remember. And for me, when he was first the president, I was young. I was just possibly graduating from the university. I experienced the war again in discipline. I enjoyed it. I thought it was spot on. If we were to queue up, if we were to respect each other, if we were to maintain cleanliness in our societies, both in our heart, in our hands, and environment, certainly that culture is what most developed nations use to move to the next level. And lately, I served under him directly as his special assistant on humanitarian and poverty alleviation. I was the national coordinator of the National Social Investment Program, and I saw his intensity, his investment, his political will to ensure that we reduce the vulnerability amongst our people. We use our unemployed youth to create the middle class that we deserve, and also to ensure that we can invest meaningfully into social protection and reduction of vulnerability. So the gentleman will be missed, and I hope what we have learned through his lifestyle, his leadership style, can be used to unleash the energy in Nigerians to care for ourselves and for our next generations. And I believed him. I believed in the sense that when he said, we don't have any country other than this country, and we should work so hard to ensure that this country becomes the best amongst nations. This is how I'll remember him.
Engineer Umar Bindir, for that opening statement. Buhari leaves behind a legacy filled with discipline, determination, and of course, debate. Let's bring in Ambassador Alhaji into this conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about your relations with Muhammadu Buhari as president, or before he even became president? I'm sure you've had contact with him. And what was the reaction yesterday when you got the news? Let's get your views.
Well, I think I would start by praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our iconic president all his shortcomings and to grant him Al-Jannah Firdaus. I was opportune to serve under his administration for about a period of about 6 months. I was in Pakistan. At that time, he came in, one of the cardinal objective of his government was to restore peace and security, especially in the Northeast region. Remember, about 14 local government areas at that time was under the total control of Boko Haram. And when he came in, of course, he was able to mobilize the neighboring countries, our neighbors, Chad, Niger, Benin Republic, and Cameroon. He reinvigorated the multinational task force. At that time, Pakistan really came to our aid, and we were able to acquire arms, almost about 21 trips to Nigeria. But then, in the pipeline, was the acquisition of aircraft that will help boost the combat capabilities of our armed forces. And he fast-tracked that, and honestly speaking, we were able to take delivery of 12 Super Mishak trainer aircraft. So in a nutshell, the president, we have lost, Nigeria have lost an iconic president, a statesman. Africa has lost a great man. The international community have lost a partner, because if you look at his activities, in his second term as presidential, as a civilian president, he was able to re-establish Nigeria's position at the international arena. He mended our relationship with the United States, with the UK, with France, with Germany, and to a large extent was able to sign various memorandums of understanding to combat terrorism as well as corruption. This is a man that was designated as the African Union champion for the fight against corruption. And going forward, if you look at when Nigeria was hit by the coronavirus, 19 coronavirus pandemic, he was designated by the ECOWAS head of government as a champion. So, in resume, if one is to go into the legacies of President Buhari, I don't think time will permit us. But in a nutshell, he has been able to stamp his contribution in the annal history of Nigeria. If you look at it, if we are going to look at it in detail, we have to look at it in two perspectives. When he was military head of state, this is a man who focused on economic diplomacy for Nigeria. He focused on the independence of African countries. He contributed to the liberation fight to end the apartheid regime in South Africa. This is a man who promoted the non-aligned movement, and as well as ensuring that Nigeria maintained diplomatic relations with both the West and the East. And the high point of his policies when he was military head of state was the war against indiscipline. Nigerian society, unfortunately, we are a little bit indisciplined in terms of accountability, in terms of our social interaction activities. And I think to a large extent, at that time, the president has recorded significant impact, especially his drive towards Pan-Africanism, his drive towards promoting regional stability. Remember, we had boundary disputes during his first tenure as military head of state. He was able to stabilize, settle these disputes for peaceful coexistence, for peace and stability in the region. Now, when you look at his contributions as a civilian president, I think the president has made significant drive. He came on with this concentric cycle diplomacy, that is looking at the interest of Nigeria at home, looking at the interest of its neighbors, and of course the international community. So it's with a heavy heart, really, sitting down in this studio to talk about the legacies of President Muhammad Buhari.
All right, thank you very much, Ambassador Daladi, for... Okay, let's just want to stay with you for now and just gotten your first reaction to his death. Would you say it's, you know, its leadership style actually, you know, impacted, you know, his policy decisions? You know, in what ways? Because, you know, we know him for being a patriot, highly disciplined individual. So would you say all this impacted his policy decisions?
Well, when he took over, remember when he took over the security challenges in Nigeria. The security challenges in Nigeria was quite devastating, and he was able to at least restore peace and security. The second thing was the issue of corruption. He was able to sign memorandum of understanding with various countries in the world, the UK, the United, the US, France, Germany. And that MOU led to the establishment of the Global Forum for Assets Recovery. Okay. And Nigeria actually benefited from that. He had this drive to diversify Nigeria's economy. And President Buhari was able, to a large extent, to garner international support from China to UK. In China alone, he was able to attract billions of dollars in concessionary funding for road construction, for railways, seaports, airports. In Germany and Russia, he had this vision to revitalize the Ajakuta steel. And Putin, he was able to get Putin to support him. And an MOU was signed for the revitalization of Ajakuta steel. Unfortunately, due to litigations, that giant project that could have repositioned Nigeria toward industrialization could not take off. If you look at the, he had this vision that electricity being the key component for industrialization, he wanted to raise the generation capacity of Nigeria to about 32,000 megawatts. The Mambila Hydro, for example, was one project that was that he was keen, and he was also able to get the Chinese government, on government to come and to support the construction of the Mambila with a sum of about $5 billion US. Unfortunately, due to international litigations, that project could not take off. But we are hopeful that the present government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will ensure that these projects see the light of the day.
Okay, President Buhari took a strong stance on anti-corruption globally, actually. And how did that influence our diplomatic relations, especially with the West?
It changed the negative narratives about Nigeria, and it gave Nigeria greater visibility. If you look at what has accrued to Nigeria in terms of visibility at the international arena, we ended up having the Deputy Secretary General. We ended up having the Director General of the World Trade Organization. We had the President of the African Development Bank, the African Bank of Import and Export, the International Criminal Court Chief Justice, we had it, Secretary General of PEC, we had it, that contributed, even though during the COVID-19 pandemic and the cascading economic fallout that affected African countries, the exporting countries, because we were at OPEC, we were able to at least adjust and to ensure that most African countries do not become insolvent. And so basically the president has left an indelible mark in terms of promoting development in Nigeria.
Okay, he has left an indelible mark. No doubt about that, Ambassador Danladi. Now, we just been informed that our guest in our studio in Kano is already with us, talking about Professor Umar Adam Katsaya, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Transportation, Daura, Katsina State. Prof, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning to you all. It is my honor and privilege to join you this morning.
All right, Prof, we have been talking about the late President Muhammadu Buhari, well, talking about his legacies, his lifestyle, and how, you know, his personality has impacted his policy decisions when he was at the helms of affairs in this country. Let's have your perspective concerning the man, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surely we are all from God, and to him we will all return. It is with heart deeply filled with sorrow that I join you this morning to discuss the life and times of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Permit me to begin this conversation with expressing a deeply condolence message on behalf of the Governing Council of the Federal University of Transportation, Daura, the Senate, the management, staff and students, to the immediate and extended family of the late President, the Emir of Daura, the Emirate in general, the Governor of Katsina State, and Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCPR, and the nation at large on this shocking incident of passing away of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. We really lost a brave soldier, a great leader, a hero, an elder statesman, whom he didn't change. He was Muhammadu Buhari before he even joined the military. He remained Muhammadu Buhari throughout his career as military, even when he became the head of state, as well as when he became the president of this great country. We really lost a hero. And we all know that each and every one of us, it's just a matter of time that one day we will all pass away. We therefore pray to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him eternal rest, Jannatul Firdaus, and also to call on each and every one of us to continue to pray for him and also to forgive him in any way that he feels that man has offended him or offended them.
With you, as we go deeper into this conversation, you're from the education sector, and President Buhari set up the first University of Transportation in Katsina, in Daura. So what would you identify, on his education legacy compared to previous administration? And was there any curriculum reform under Buhari in enhancing the educational system? And let's talk about his policies when it comes to education.
Very great. Remember, even while he was the head of state, it was during his time that the 6334 system came into being. And also when he became the president, he did a lot in terms of education. More universities, colleges of education, polytechnics were established. And one of them is this great institution, the Federal University of Transportation, Daura, which is not only one of its kind here in Nigeria, but the whole of Africa. And when you look at transportation in general, it is the enabler of the economic growth and development of each and any nation. Without investing heavily in transportation, definitely any nation that gamble into that will continue to experience inflation in a whole area. And that's why that university was established, to put the needed manpower in the area of transportation and the whole gamut of transportation, the air, the road, the rail, and the water. And not only that, not only the high sea, but also the what we call inland waterways, as well as other areas of transportation, the logistics, the supply chain, the economy, the security, and all that surrounding the transportation. So you see that this a huge contribution, not only to Nigeria alone, but to Africa and the world at large, because transportation is such a language that is not restricted to a particular region or a country, but the world over. And when you look at this, you will notice that now, over time, those who are constructing our roads, our rail, seaport, airport, definitely must include Nigerians because of the expertise we are going to build on our use in general. And also this will definitely reduce the cost of the transportation, because if you are building a road with your people in Nigeria, it means that the cost you will need to bring expatriates from other countries will reduce. And so also the managing of those infrastructures will definitely be reduced if you are using your people. And over time, it means that we are going to export this expertise to other other part of the world. And also this will give Nigeria opportunity to further contribute. So you can see from there, you see that former President Muhammad Buhari has done very well. He has contributed greatly to the growth of economy as well as infrastructure of this nation. Not only this university, you will see the runways, you see the terminals in major international airport in Nigeria. It was built during his time. So definitely we sincerely lost somebody that has contributed immensely to the growth and development of transportation in Nigeria.
That no doubt the former president and the late president has actually contributed a lot to the development of infrastructure in this country and also in other aspects of development. We'll get back to you in the course of this conversation, but we'd just like to remind our viewers that they also can contribute to this discussion. We're talking about the life and times of the late president, former President Muhammadu Buhari. So you can send in your comments, you can send in your questions so that our guest here can respond to them. Thank you. So let's get back to the studio now. Ambassador Danladi, I mean, we have been talking about, the impact of the late presidents on the Nigeria's economy in the area of security. And let's look at the area of international relations now. how would you say his decision impacted, Nigeria positively concerning our relationship with other countries?
Well, when he took office, we had some frosty relationship, actually, especially with the United States, with the United Kingdom, South Africa. Within the ECOWAS region, which was where he started by mobilizing the ECOWAS region, especially the neighboring countries, to fight against terrorism. This was a man who stabilized the political impasse in Gambia, in Guinea-Bissau, and in Mali. And that has promoted peace and security within the ECOWAS region. At the international arena, President Buhari has undertaken dozens of trips. And these trips always culminate in the signing of memorandum of understanding that will attract foreign investment to Nigeria. Within his 8 years tenure as president, the inflow of foreign direct investment into the country is estimated at over $78 billion US.
Okay.
His effort in diversifying the economy, which led to boosting agricultural development. He launched the Anko Borrower scheme. Millions of farmers today in Nigeria will be mourning the demise of this great leader. The Anko borrowing has affected millions of farmers. His drive to ensure that Nigeria becomes self-sufficient in rice production, for example. I could remember that between 2017, 2018, 2019, how much was the price of a bag of rice? It was just about 14,000 naira to a bag of rice. His passion and drive to ensure the economic growth of Nigeria led to the closure of the Nigerian border, if you could recall. And that was one, to curtail smuggling of rice into this country, to ensure that arms are not also being trafficked into Nigeria, which has contributed in the the security challenges that Nigeria faced. The non-compliance, unfortunately, of ECOWAS member countries to set up a data bank that will monitor the production of arms, local arms production. These are all policies that the president has put in place to ensure that Nigeria move forward. And he also concentrated on the issue of solid mineral development. And solid mineral development, as you know, Nigeria has proven reserve of solid mineral development that will compete favorably with the oil and gas that we have in this country. And I think going forward, I can see the positive continuum of that policy by the present government in solid mineral. The digital economy. Buhari really launched an aggressive drive to promote digital economy in this country. Okay. And it's now being taken to another level by this present government. And going forward, I see a situation where the youth will massively benefit from policy that has been put in place by the demise great hero, President Buhari. Now, when you look at the position of Nigeria vis-a-vis its global influence, at a particular certain period, the global image was somehow diminishing. Nigeria being the giant of Africa, he now reinvigorated that by asserting Nigeria's position. And as I have said, quite visible, Nigerians have occupied various international organizations under his watch. So we have missed a great leader, but it is our hope that this government will follow on the policies that have been laid, since it's a continuum government, it's an APC government, and I can see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu taking what he has achieved to the next level. And God's willing, Nigeria is going to regain its position as the giant of Africa sooner than expected.
Okay.
Indeed, we're on another level actually, because when President Tinubu took over office, he said, I will continue with the policies of the previous administration. Let's bring in Engineer Umar Bindil into this conversation. Let's have your assessment on Buhari's economic legacy and talking about the impactful initiative like the Treasury Single Account and the ANCO Borrowers program. And he said at that time that he was going to lift to 100 million Nigerians out of poverty then, before the election, and it has come to play in so many instances. So how impactful was President Buhari's economic policy, and how did it impact Nigerians?
Thank you very much, Jumai. You see, let me reflect on one of the presentations I made to the president when I was secretary to the government in Adamawa State, and he visited. And the protocol people told me that I have only 5 minutes, and an intellectual and academic like me cannot use 5 minutes in front of a president. So I just went on, and you cannot believe it, the president was sitting there, and I made a 1-hour presentation, and he never complained. And I could remember, I told the president very openly that, Mr. President, we have seen since 1999, President Obasanjo came with the needs, as a policy. After President Obasanjo, we had President Yaradua who came with the 7-point agenda. After President Yaradua, we had President Jonathan coming with transformation agenda. After President, then you. The first time he came in, he wanted to follow the traditional branded policies, branded programs of political leaders. So he started with the change mantra. I don't think many Nigerians actually understood what it was. But President himself, during his own tenure, changed from the change mantra to the next level. Again, it was sort of like vaguish, if you know what I mean, to ordinary Nigerians. And towards the end, he now, as you said, landed on his true, very clear and measurable policy of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. Then people started recognizing that this is the Buhari that we know. And throughout this, the programs were very, very visible. As I said, I remember telling him that, Mr. President, if you want people to remember you, you have to use 3 levels for people to measure your own tenure. First, reduce absolute poverty. This character of people cannot drink clean water. They don't eat good food. Their houses are not very good. The roads in rural areas are bad, and so on and so forth. Has to be measured, has to change from very bad to a safe set of bad and then good. And then he was shaking his head and laughing. And I said, the second thing to sustain that poverty, low poverty level, is that you have to create a middle class. These young people, whether they are schooled or not schooled, must be engaged. There must be jobs for them. These jobs must pay, and they must be busy going up and down with skills and competencies and so on and so forth. Again, he laughed. And I said, finally, Mr. President, when you leave, you must leave Nigeria as a country that is respected by other countries. We must lift our standards to a level whereby when you say giant of Africa, they will tick. When you say this fantastic country, they will tick, and so on and so forth. And I'm happy to report that. Look at his program, just like His Excellency the Ambassador said. The Anchor Borrowers program. People don't know that some of us who participated in this was the result of Anchor Borrowers, particularly the boosting, the amplification, the growth of the numbers of farmers using local credit from the development finance of the central bank to engage in rice farming was what saved Nigeria from the embarrassment of COVID. You remember COVID, the borders are blocked, everywhere there was no movement, and when you check countries that suffered COVID, you will find that food is actually the key thing. You saw it in the UK and America, people are queuing up for bread and so on. But here we were in Nigeria. Everybody could eat rice. Rice was available, despite the fact that there was no smuggling. That alone made sure that the legacies of Mr. President Buhari late, is there in front of us. And I hope our own dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will continue this. Secondly, President Buhari was the first in the history of all Africa to launch the biggest and the largest social investment program in the whole of Africa. That National Social Investment Program, with Empower, engaging young people with skills, National Food, the Homegrown School Feeding Program, harvesting the output of food from the communities, feeding it to school children so that nutrition is higher, attendance of school is longer, entering into school is getting bigger, moving to the empowerment program, the government empowerment, enterprise and empowerment program, where you give microcredit to market women selling aleho, dadawa, granite oil, smoked fish, and so on and so forth. Boosted the activities of our local informal communities, and then the conditional cash transfer that targeted 2 million households with an average of over 12 to 15 million individuals. This is so unprecedented that South Africa was coming to Nigeria to come and learn. So these are the characters of the president. He likes to ensure that this country, the poverty comes down. He likes to touch the lives of ordinary people. He likes to see vulnerability coming down. And when he used my honorable minister that I work with, Ajab Sadia Umar Farouk, who was highly misunderstood because of her own humility, her firmness. I could remember working with that woman until 2 o'clock. You know, we're trying to ensure that our work is evidence-based, with data. We follow all these. We try to minimize the errors and so on and so forth. We try to ensure that people are empowered properly. People are banked. Ordinary women have bank accounts and so on and so forth. These were all legacies of Mr. President. Honestly, this is the most consistent president to do with social protection, poverty reduction, empowering of Nigerians without change. If you follow the whole track, as Ambassador said, from his military rule, war against indiscipline, calm down, be disciplined, we will move forward. Secondly, when he came again, lifting people out of poverty, it is about engaging ordinary people to get better. Until his exit with the social investment program, I think the legacies of Mr. President, it doesn't matter what happened, will always be there. And for some of us who worked with him, we have learned a lot, and we can only pray that may God reward him, may God forgive him, and may God land him into the center of Jannatul Firdaus with a big house, so that we all, when we die, we can again meet and compare notes.
Well, thank you very much, Engineer Bidi, for that. We are also praying that God will answer all of your prayers there. Just like you said, he's one of the most consistent leaders we have ever had in this country. And I still want to ask you, because, you know, the late president was the first, you know, opposition, candidate to have defeated, you know, an incumbent president in 2015. And during campaigns, subsequent campaigns after that, you will hear him say, okay, after, you know, campaigning, you know, for his parties and all that, and he will tell the, you know, Nigerians, vote for the people of your choice. And many, you know, criticize him for that. What would you think actually informed his attitude, you know, when it comes to things like that? He was not too fussy, you know, when it comes to, you know, urging people to vote, you know, and to vote for his own party.
Yeah, this was the President Buhari for you in politics. He never ran other parties down. He never runs other people's down. And I think it is the recognition of this fairness, this openness, and this zeal to actually be very, very transparent that President Goodluck Jonathan literally congratulated him before politicians started getting into the momentum of don't agree, don't do this, do that. He quickly, the president, if you read his part of his memoirs that he has said on TV, he just said, I went straight to it, because he could see. And this president is the only, or was the only president, as you said, who had at least 10 to 12 or 15 million voters in his political bag without even trying. People identified themselves with this man. He speaks what he wants to do. When he was the PTF man, everybody thought any Nigerian that had an opportunity to lead PTF would have amassed wealth. This gentleman did not. He still didn't have a very big house. Until his death, nobody could go and say, this is the President Buhari's mansion, either in Daura or Abuja or Kaduna. This is very rare. And so that is why he maintained. I remember I was in Adamawa as a junior, he came for his campaign. He was very humble. He shook hands with everybody. He sat there smiling and laughing. And people get attracted to this. And he meant it. It's not like these tricks that most of us politicians that do, where you say what you don't mean and you do things that is weird and so on and so forth. So President Buhari was an icon. President Buhari was fair. And one thing that people never knew, and I will tell you today, you know, in Abuja, when the president is to go to the mosque on Friday, once the president said, I'll go to the mosque on Friday, all the roads leading to the central mosque will be blocked. And there will be chaos. You don't know which road to follow. I am telling you, because of that recognition, one experience, somebody told him, Mr. President, you know, once you go to the mosque, the chaos, they will block everywhere, there's security everywhere. He decided to pray in the villa. He left the mosque open. So you can drive from any angle of the mosque. That is the humility president you have, even down to the practicing of his religion. So, yes, you are right. This is a fair president, and I hope we can pick the pieces from his actions and experiences and move our country to the next level. Again, adieu, Mr. President. May your soul rest in perfect peace.
May Nigerians continue to emulate his legacy. And we have some messages Nigerians want to contribute to this conversation, and I'm going to take some of them. And the first one I'm taking is from Dr. Kabir Getso. He said, thank you, Professor Kasaya, for highlighting the efforts of late President Muhammadu Buhari in the area of transportation and infrastructure development. In addition to establishing Federal University of Transportation, Daura, the late president has established 10 other universities, 10 more polytechnics, and 8 additional new colleges of education. This brought to the total number of newly established institutions by him to 29, and he gave us a list of all the universities and polytechnics that the president was able to establish before he left office. And another one said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his shortcomings and grant him al-Jannah Firdaus. The president that saved the nation from the hunger that coronavirus closure would have put us through his Uncle Boras program that made food available to the nation. A man of high discipline and courage. We will miss him. That's coming from Oloregbe Abdul Karim. And another one said, good morning. Every soul shall taste death. PMB left a legacy which hardly anyone can fill the vacuum. Our prayer goes to his family that may Allah forgive and grant our departed souls with Al-Jannah Firdaus, Bajija, Rasulullah, Amin. And Chike from Wari Delta State said, President Muhammadu Buhari's passing leaves a void in our nation. His experience and insight would have been invaluable in advisory capacity. I offer my heartfelt condolences to his family, especially former First Lady Aisha Buhari, as they navigate this challenging period. May so rest in peace. And another one said, the death of the former President Muhammadu Buhari was a rude shock to me. According to his wife, he pleaded that Nigerians should forgive him of his mistakes. That is so touching. I, Yaqub Mohammed Majid Waldin, also plead with my fellow Nigerians to please forgive him and may so rest in peace. Amen. Mr. Demola.
Okay, I also have some comments here from some of our viewers. And the first one is from Sir Chris Akwarandu. It says, good morning, former President Muhammadu Buhari laid the foundation of a stable Nigeria. I suggest that Aso Villa should be renamed Muhammadu Buhari House. This one says, President Muhammadu Buhari has extremely done well during his time as head of state, as minister, and also as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 100% Buhari meant very well for the nation, but those close associates disappointed him. As for me, as a Nigerian, he has done great. May he so rest in peace. Then this one says, late President Buhari was a great leader, patient, focused, and determined. He rose to be Nigeria's president. His government may not have been as successful as he would have, as he expected, but he made some tremendous impact on socio-political landscape. And the last one says, this one is for Ben Uzo. Late President Buhari was eager to build an enduring electoral reform to adopt technology to transmit election results. The purpose is to deepen democracy, to build citizen trust. Well, Ambassador Danladi, you want to respond to some of these messages?
Yeah, well, it's true, because politically, when he was a fair leader. If you remember, you recall, when APC won the Zamfara elections, from the governor to all the other elective offices. But it was challenged in court that due process was not followed during Congress. And as a sitting president, the politicians were thinking that since APC has won Zamfara state, it will remain so. But the president never interfered. He said, let the law take its due course. And what happened? For simply not conducting Congress elections appropriately, it was overturned and PDP just got it on a platter of gold. This would not have happened. It would not have happened if not for the transparency, fairness, fair play of President Buhari. He did not interfere. You see, there are certain things that perhaps at the appropriate time we may be able to discuss it. But I could recall when we went for a meeting at the central bank, and the then governor of the central bank said, look, I've met the president, I've disposed about billions of naira to farmers, but I wonder how are they going to pay these loans? And he said, when he told President Buhari, Buhari asked him one question: this money, has it really reached the farmers? Are the farmers accessing this fund? He said, if they access this fund, they will pay back by the grace of God. And that is to show you his fair level play in all his activities. The other issue which very critical, especially in terms of agricultural development, which I hope this present government will continue, was the presidential initiative on fertilizer production. Remember that the requirement for fertilizer is about 3 million metric tons of fertilizer. Right now, the prices of fertilizers are a little bit high, and this presidential initiative, MOU was signed between Nigeria and Morocco to produce fertilizer. I do hope that this government will also follow through to ensure that we domesticate the production of fertilizer here, so that farm implements could be cheaply available to our farmers. We have lost an icon, but we are hopeful that the legacies left behind will be emulated by these present leaders and the coming generations of Nigeria. And if that happens, Nigeria will be a shining star among the Committee of Nations.
Nigeria will be a shining star. Okay, we'll just pause there As we go for a break, the conversation on the lives and times of late President Muhammadu Buhari will continue after the break. Stay with us.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
When we think about the digital economy, you can see it as the marketplace for digital goods and services. And increasingly, it's becoming a force to reckon with and an incredible contributor to economic growth, because we've seen the growth in technology and digital platforms. Technology has it really permeated every aspect of life and business, the way we live, the way we work. And when we talk about the digital economy, we're really talking about leveraging technology and digital platforms in a powerful way to drive growth, to drive solutions to problems, to drive applications, and to provide services.
The digital economy is something that has the potential to help Nigeria leapfrog a lot of its development challenges, right? Because think about what the mobile phone did for Nigeria years ago. That is the potential we have for digital, because it has a way of reducing the barriers to innovation. It has a way of being able to transform service delivery, whether it's government's delivery of services or whether it's services in the health system, where people can use digital to actually be able to see their patients better. But it takes a lot to realize that potential of digital. The first thing is like every other thing, there's an infrastructure you have to build to be able to make sure that digital economy can thrive. Think of something like, capturing that happens in Nigeria, right? Where you capture, people's biometric when they go for a driver's license, when they go for passports, and each of those are separate things. Imagine a system where we're able to streamline that and actually have a platform that exchange biometric information that makes it easier for people to access passports, easier for people to register to vote. But today it's very tough, right? But those are basic infrastructure that needs to be invested in. A lot of it is through government and private sector collaborations to make it happen.
If we're looking to accelerate growth in the Nigerian space, we really need to look at enabling the digital economy. That includes providing digital infrastructure, connectivity, because that's the highway, like the highway that everything rides on. We need to think about digital capacity building in terms of the suppliers to the economy and also the consumers within the economy. So a robust digital literacy initiative. The good thing about technology is that, one, it helps you to transcend boundaries. Two, it creates a level playing field, really, because if you create a solution, a technology-based solution that is applicable in this environment, that same technology can be applicable, exported to other environments. And, technology platforms also help drive collaboration, right? When we're thinking about innovation, when we're thinking about business growth, collaboration is an important part of that. So when we think about the impacts with the rest of the world, we find that actually technology platforms are giving us an opportunity to engage more actively, to collaborate, to create partnerships, to even export our knowledge and services for people to engage with all the great things I'm talking about technology and digital platforms. They need access, internet access, broadband access. So we need to make sure that access is more available and affordable for the average user.
The most important thing is to think about where you want to go as a country and actually what type of policies are going to help get you there. There are examples of countries who've been able to transform using digital, for example. There are very clear things those countries did to be able to make it happen. So a lot of this, the pathway to be able to solve these problems are not mysterious, right? It takes courage of the policymakers to be able to understudy some of these things and bring in the policies that work to be able to help them.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And we're still discussing the life and times of the former president, late President Muhammadu Buhari. While the break was on, we had some comments from some of our viewers, and we'd like to read some of these comments. This one is from Hafsat Muhazu. She said, "You did your very best, and I'm indeed proud of you. May Allah grant you Jannah Fidao. Thank you for all you have done for our dear country." And Mark Igba from Lagos says, "Good morning. May the soul of the former president rest in peace with his creator. A big loss, not just to the family, but to the nation."
Yes, and I have some too, and this one is from Hajia Aisha from Gwagwalada. She said, "PMB, may your perfect soul rest in peace. I mean, a brave man of his words. My late president, I'll be proud of you till I die. Ya Allah, forgive his shortcomings." And Hadiza Bauchi said, "Good morning, Nigeria. Actually, we lost a great icon, and indeed, may his soul rest in peace. Accept my condolences." That's coming from Hadiza Bauchi. And Engineer Deniro and Idris said, "Greetings to you all. May the gentle soul of PMB rest in peace." Let's now go to our Kano studio where Prof is seated. Prof, what kind of legacy and accountability do you think President Buhari has left behind?
Yes, consistency. This one man that remained consistent right from youthfulness to when he was in school, his training as soldier, and his working leadership in the military as general, as well as when he became the president or the politician. And this has been said by his colleagues. Former head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, also mentioned that late President Muhammadu Buhari remained consistent, was unwavering commitment. So one of the many legacies is this man he left was he remained consistent. And sometimes people will think that why this man, he gives people responsibility, he will not follow up or he will not talk. He used to say, why? Because for somebody to give in an agency for him to head, that agency is under the purview of a particular ministry. That agency has management. That agency has governing board or council. And that agency is an establishment of the Federal National Assembly Act, and which also assented by Mr. President. So if such people heading such a particular agency could not be guided by the act establishing that agency, by the commitment of the management and the governing council of that agency, and also by the supervisory ministry. So why, Mr. President, he will follow such agency or such head of such agencies talking to them, do this and that? So actually it wasn't a weakness. For me, it was even a strength. that you give somebody assignment and there's a mandate for him to carry out that assignment, and there are supervising agencies. So you allow such a person to do the work. It is a strength. And one thing also is that if you err, if something happens along the line, you will not go back to him because he will not spare you. It happened while he was head of state and even while he was the president. So don't think that you are very close to him, that you can do anything. No. Once you err, you will not go back to, because he will not save you. So this is one thing that I will say this late President Muhammad Buhari left behind, that consistency. And I will call on each and every one of us to be consistent on good things, not on bad things. Another thing is that the humility, which many people also mention. This is somebody that's very humble. This is somebody that he doesn't take worldly things as important. People mention that the same house he stayed, which was built by the government before he became president, that same house he remained in Daura. Even after he left office, people were surprised that he say he didn't remember, and also nobody could remember to renovate Kaduna House. So that he remained in Daura, and where I know him, that he wanted to remain in Daura, because even when the Kaduna House was rebuilt by the federal government, remember the house was rebuilt brand new by the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But before he even moved there, it took time before he moved there. I think it took maybe the intervention of the government. I think particularly the vice president has to come and escort him to move to that house. So, you see, he was humble. And another thing also is that if you said that this is how you do things in politics, because he used to mention that it's not that I like it, but since this is what the act says, since this is what the policy says, this is how the politics is, you have to follow it. Not because I like all this thing about politics, but because this is what it says, and we have to follow it. That's why I can say it's a true soldier as well as true democrat. Somebody that doesn't meddle in the affairs of government, in the affairs of the party, and even in the affairs of primary elections, general elections, as people mention. But one thing he used to say is that in Hausa language is that jiki magai. That means you will bear the consequences of whatever you do. Because if you do right or you vote for somebody, so you have to stay with whatever that person will bring to you, or his the manifestation of his policy and whatever. So there are so many legacies that late Muhammadu Buhari left behind. And when some people were mentioning about agriculture, many people didn't know that it is possible in Nigeria to have rice milling factories before they started. And some people were talking about we could have allowed to continue to bring rice until when we have sufficient. What do you say? Until when you will have sufficient, it's better to endure having for your own than to continue to say you continue to bring to import until when you have sufficient. Because if you are importing, it means that you will not have the courage to have sufficient for yourself. So before he left, I'm telling you now that in every nooks and cranny of this country, you see rice milling factories, to the extent that some factories even close when they start working, because there is no rights to process. So I'm sure that these legacies are worthy of emulation by each and every one of us, more especially those who are growing, so that over time they will also leave something or good legacies, good things behind. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And as I said, we'll continue to bring those very good things that he has done, that he led, to continue to popularize them, so that over time we'll all come to understand and learn to live with such humility and consistency, so that in the end we also leave behind a great nation, a great Nigeria. Thank you.
Professor, he no doubt left a worthy legacy, a legacy of humility, of transparency, of high discipline, and humanitarian. But let's go to Maiduguri studio now, where we have the engineer Bindi. Okay. Let's come back to the studio, and because a lot of people, some people have, criticized, the late president, government, especially in response to some crisis. They have said that the administration was slow to respond to, some crises, such as the NSAS, crisis, some security challenges and all that. You having worked, closely with the president, how would you respond to such criticism?
Well, you see, Nigeria is a very complex country, and the challenges are enormous. The president is somebody who is a little bit systematic and who tries to follow due process in whatever he's doing. You see, he suddenly realized that the executive fiat he was using when he was military head of state was no longer tenable under a democratic dispensation. There are due process that must be followed. And that is why perhaps some people will say, yes, some of the programs or some of the anticipation. Of course, and he knows that based on the massive cult-like followership that he had in 2015 that brought him to government, he knows that people had very high expectations. And we heard that he normally says that, look, how am I going to meet the expectation of these people when these processes, these bottlenecks are all there? There are checks and balances. Things have to go to the National Assembly, So these processes actually stultify the drive for him to achieve what he wanted to achieve within the shortest possible time. But on the other hand, also, he's a very patient person. I have not seen, I'm yet to see a very patient president like President Buhari. Because remember, during the clearance of the EFCC chair, because he was in a hurry to make sure that the anti-corruption fight is going to be serious, and therefore he wanted the EFCC man to be confirmed, that time, Magu, I think, to be confirmed. And unfortunately, even though the agencies that were to clear Magu gave him the report that yes, this man is fit, he can hold that office, the same agency went again and gave a counter submission to the National Assembly, who now put them in a quandary. However, they were able to meet the president and say, look, some members say, look, Mr. President, something is wrong. How can this same agency give two contrary views on this particular matter? You know what he said? He said, God, through me, has given them that position. And if they disappoint me, they are disappointing God, and they will be accountable to God. And if they are not careful, they will be accountable here. You see, that is the level of patience of President Buhari. So, yeah, there could be criticisms, of course. Even when he was traveling up and down, there were criticisms, but how much was budgeted for spending and how much did he attract? If you look at the estimates in the budget for his travel and expenditure, vis-a-vis what he was able to attract over the past 8 years, it's a peanut compared to what he has been able to attract. So it's true, but then leadership requires patience, leadership requires following due process, and therefore, yes, things could appear slow, but we, the followers, should also learn to be patient and wait for the outcome of programs and policies of the government.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have just, let me take in a minute some of the responses that just came in now. And Sadiq Dawari said, one among the numerous Buhari legacy is the introduction of the Anko Borrowers program that touches the life of many Nigerians, particularly rural farmers. They are, for the first time in the history, being included in financial system and provided them access to finance and scale up the farmers' capacity. Nigerians, particularly rural farmers, will remember him for that. May his soul rest in peace. And another one said from Kubwa, Usaina Yusuf Bashir, Inna Lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. All Allah forgive Baba Buhari, my favorite president, and all our departed loved ones. Elevate his station among those who were guided. Send him along the path of those who came before, and forgive us and him, O Lord of the world. Enlarge for him his graves and shed light upon him. Amen. Indeed, Baba's humility, empathy, and integrity is worthy of emulation. To all leaders, we will surely miss Baba Buhari, as I fondly call him. May Allah console his family and all of that. Let's bring in Prof here.
Let me also take this before we go to Prof.
Okay.
And this one is from Alaji Kasua Bida. He said, may Allah forgive President Muhammadu Buhari shortcomings to grant him Al-Jannah Fidao. Amen. This one says, the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be greatly missed by all Nigerians. He embodied the great Nigerian spirit that was never realized in his lifetime. He worked hard and pushed hard for a cleaner, better, and corrupt-free Nigeria throughout his active life. He fought the battle for a better Nigeria with everything he got, not limited to policies and dogged efforts to implement anti-corruption policies, but also with body language. This one says, President Buhari was a leader worthy of emulation. Some of his characters are excellent. This one is from, it says, General Buhari stands as a paragon of discipline, integrity, and selfless service to Nigeria. As a former head of state and president, his unwavering commitment to the unity and progress of the nation has left an indelible mark on his history. A true patriot, he dedicated his life to fostering peace, stability, and development, guided by unshakable belief in the strength of a united Nigeria. His leadership was characterized by humility, resilience, and unyielding dedication to the rule of law. Despite the immense challenges of governance, he remained steadfast in his principles, earning the respect of both allies and adversaries. His life serves as an enduring inspiration, reminding us of the power of servant leadership and the importance. This one says, what I can say for sure is that Buhari is a true Nigerian. May Allah grant him rest and include him among his righteous servants. Buhari, good night. And this one from Kevin Jude from Anambra State, it says, it's so sad to lose someone like Buhari at this age of 82, a president that feel the pains of others fighting for the poor. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Yes, may his soul rest in perfect peace. Let's now go to our Kano studio for his final comments. And how do you think, history would remember Muhammadu Buhari? I'm sending that question to our Maiduguri studio, Umar Bindir. How do you think history will remember President Buhari and his legacy? Briefly, in 30 seconds.
President Buhari will be remembered as a people's president, ordinary president for the people. And on behalf of ordinary women, ordinary young people, may God be with him. President Buhari also will be remembered as somebody who respected the traditional system as the closest system to the people. Again, on their behalf, may God reward him. And finally, I recommend to Nigerians to go and buy according to the president, the book written by Garba Shehu, so that you can actually glean more on the tenure activities of Mr. President. And I hope the family led by Aisha Buhari, the Fulani people led by the Emir of Adamawa, the Lamido of Adamawa, and the political class possibly led by our own dear president, may all of us be given the energy and the fortitude by Allah to bear this loss. Adieu, Mr. President.
Umar Bindir, founder and COO, Bindir Knowledge Development Center International, Yola. He's also a former secretary to the government of Adamawa State, former director general and CEO of NOTAP, and former national coordinator, NSIP. He joined us from our Maiduguri studio. Thank you so much for your contributions to this conversation on this day. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you so much. And Ambassador Dada Nladi, who joined us here in the studio, former Nigerian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Thank you so much for coming. And also our guest in our Maiduguri, our Kano studio, yes, Professor Umar Adam Kasayal, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Transportation, Daura, Katsina State. Thank you so much for your contribution to this conversation. We appreciate you. And yes, and thank you.
Well,
Juma Yusuf, Razit.
And I'm Maladi. Thanks for joining us, and do have a lovely day.